Since May is over now, I'll rank all of the movies I've seen this month, starting with number 4, and that is Atlas. Let's first start with the positives, because we'll have those done fast, unfortunately. There are some action sequences where I was positively surprised with long takes and minimal cuts. Also, the idea of humans and AI combining forces to become better is kind of a clever idea, even though they don't do more out of it. That's everything positive I have. Now let's come to the major negatives. The CGI in this movie isn't good. It looks much more like a video game instead of a movie, so it doesn't really look realistic. My biggest problem though of this movie is just that nothing in this movie feels original. The future technologies, the new planets, the robots Jennifer Lopez is in, even the bad guys, you've all seen them in other better sci-fi movies. Overall, this movie's a 2 out of 5 for me. Now at number 3 we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and this movie has some major issues but also a lot of big positives, which is why even though it's second to last on this list, it's still a good movie. Let's first start with the positives. The VFX are fantastic. I mean, the apes are very well animated, and just overall the world building is great with how you can see how nature has taken back what we humans have built. Rocka the orangutan was a great character. He was basically the mentor of Noah and also had some pretty funny jokes. The best part of this movie is definitely the first and second act because they really focus on the world building there the most. You just get to enjoy the great visual effects, and it's also fun to see how apes interact with stuff that humans build. Even though I like this movie, there also are some negatives. Noah wasn't really an interesting character. He was a pretty standard hero with some very blueprint character development. He just didn't really catch me. Also, the movie kind of falls apart in the third act with tons of plot holes and plot convenience in there, which really annoyed me. Also, none of the human characters worked for me. They were rather plot devices than actual interesting characters. So overall, for me, this is a 3.5 out of 5. And if you're enjoying this video, I'd really appreciate if you subscribe because I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of 2024. Anyways, at number 2, we have The Fall Guy. Let's first start with the positives here. There are a lot of practical stunts in this movie, which I really appreciate, and in most cases you can see that it was done for real, which is far cooler than the CGI fest you see in most of the movies. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling also worked great together and had some very funny dialogue, but their love story was quite predictable. The CGI in this movie was fine, but nothing to write home about, which leads me to my negatives. The stunts, while most of them did look practical, some didn't, not because they weren't, but because they added extra effects, so it looks like it's completely fake and only made with green screen, which is annoying because you know it's done for real, but it still looks fake. My biggest problem with this movie is just that if you focus on the story, you're not going to be blown away by anything. All of the story beats in the thriller as well as in the romance aspect you've all seen before, and it is quite predictable. Overall, I'm between a 3.5 to 4 out of 5 for this one. Then at number 1, you've probably guessed it, I have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I think we'll first start with the negatives because I do have a lot more positives than negatives. My main negative with this movie is just that it's too long for what it has to tell. You especially notice how long this movie is at the end because there you just get a dialogue that doesn't want to end. There are also some stupid plot holes. To see what I mean, just check out my spoiler review of the movie. Also, the conflict between Immortan Joe and Furiosa wasn't built up at all, which, I mean, is like the main thing we want to see. Anyway, those are all of my negatives. And now let's just come to some of the positives, because I do have a lot. The whole intro sequence was just fantastic. Just overall, the action was great. I mean, there's a 20-minute set piece in the middle of the movie. There are so many little stories in that one action sequence that you just really appreciate it. And also just generally, the actors in this movie were great and delivered some great performances. And just overall, if you're a fan of the Mad Max world, this movie is definitely for you. So I gave this movie a 4 out of 5. To check out why the new Netflix movie Atlas is basically just stolen from every franchise you know, click here. That's been it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and bye.